podcast episode number 2. Welcome to the Building Thriving Lifestyles podcast. I'm your host, Eike Gylladóttir, and I love to grow better humans by challenging myself and others mentally, physically, and spiritually. On today's episode, we are going to talk about why you should not let the scale control your mood or your progress on your weight loss journey. I am also in this podcast going to give you some ideas about how you can be much more efficient and motivate yourselves along the way on your weight loss journey by tracking some other benchmarks and measurements. Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Barbells. Barbells is my favorite protein bar. They produce a functional food that is filled with protein and makes it so easy to hit my protein targets while I indulge in a sweet afternoon pick-me-up alongside my coffee. You'll find Barbells pretty much everywhere these days, grocery stores and the rest of it. You can also stock up on Amazon and bulk buy their product in boxes, or you can grab a single bar with you next time you're getting your coffee fix at Starbucks. So the reason why we're going to talk about this topic today is that I know that I'm not the only one that feels that sense of frustration when I'm trying to make some changes on my appearance, weight, or my health journey. When I step onto the scale and I just see the same number as yesterday, or the scale is going in the wrong direction. So imagine this, you've been going to the gym, you're trying to lose weight, you've been eating more protein, you've been hitting your vegetable portions, you feel great, you feel strong, you feel lighter, but then you step onto the scale and your weight has either increased or it's going in the wrong direction and you feel absolutely devastated. You feel demotivated, thinking that all your hard work has just gone to waste, and you really question if all of this effort that you've been putting in is really worth it. Is it really possible to lose weight? Now, I know that you are not alone in thinking this, because studies show that most people that are trying to lose weight, they have reported some kind of an issue or a serious addictive relationship with the scale. I personally worked with hundreds of people who have been extremely emotionally controlled or triggered by these fluctuations on the scale. And truth be told, most of them experience that these negative thoughts and demotivating self-talks, followed by stepping onto the scale and not seeing the results that they were hoping or wanting, it's not very helpful at all. For some of them, this triggers some serious downward spirals of habits that often lead them to abandoning this nutrition plan that they've been following that, would have given them the results that they are seeking if they stuck to it long enough. And here is the 3 reasons why it's not a good idea to use the scale. And one of the very first one is that your emotions and success do not depend on how much the gravity is pulling on you at that particular time of the day, on that particular day, okay? Because typically the scale only shows your weight, but it doesn't tell you how much of that weight is muscle, fat, water, food from yesterday, bones, or organs, okay? And it turns out that our body is 60% water. Yeah, this means that 60% of your body is stored inside your tissue, muscles, blood, and bones is water. For a 100-kilo man, that's about 60 kilos of water weight. And for a 70-kilo woman, that's 42 total kilos of water weight. And as we know, we learned it all in school, osmosis, the water travels in and out through our cell membranes through a process called osmosis. This means that our body weight can fluctuate a lot due to hydrations and other fluctuations in the body due to sodium levels, hormone, vascular processes, and digestion processes as well. So this tells us that the body weight is not saying much about what's actually going inside your body and doesn't really describe anything that's going on in this weight loss journey. So every time you step onto the scale, it's more like checking what's my water balance doing today and not actually how much fat have I lost. So if you don't believe me, do this test for me. Step on the scale, weigh yourself, then take 1 liter of water, drink it all, and step onto the scale again. You will see that you weigh exactly 1 kilo more than you did before you stepped onto the scale. In real life, this plays out as, for example, you eat a salty meal the night before and hydrate as you're eating a meal. Let's say you had a portion of French fries for ease of explanation. And then the day after you step onto the scale and the scale shows you a kilo more of weight or 500 grams. Yeah. This does not mean that you gained weight and got fat overnight. This only means that your body is retaining water due to the extra salt intake that you just did the night before with those French fries. The same thing is if you drink a sugary soda, if you've been off sugar and soda for a while, you drink a sugary soda, your muscles will be in heaven, they say, and soak up all those carbohydrates. And with those carbohydrates, for every gram of carbohydrates, they bind 3 grams of water. So that means for every gram of carbohydrates, you now have 4 grams inside your muscle mass. Yeah, ready to use next time you do a hard exercise. But when you step onto the scale, probably going to show you 500 to 1,000 grams more on the scale than what you did the day before. Again, you did not get fat overnight. Your body just absorbed the water, holding onto it inside their carbohydrate storage, and it's ready for you to use next time you exercise. So that's reason number 1 why the scale is not a good way to track your progress. Another thing is that we are completely enabled to remember the good stuff. Yeah. So even if you've been on your weight loss journey for some time, it takes time for the scale to show trends over time. Okay. So if we're trying to lose weight, the scale will look something like this, up, down, up, down, up, down. But we're looking at the overall trend downwards. But our mind works like this. We only remember the up peak. We dismiss all the down peaks as something that was, weird. Something happened. Oh, there must have been an error. Oh, I was dehydrated. But we're not able to do the same thing for those high peaks, thinking, oh, that was an error. The low peaks are actually the real number. Okay. So get rid of the scale, really. No. Third reason is that it takes time. Okay, you have to allow time to pass, sticking to the same plan, not feeling super outswinged by the swings that happen along the way. And if you're getting bad news every day, you're always seeing the number that you hate or you don't like, you're super unlikely to continue with those good behaviors and habits that you've been planning to perform. It takes approximately 21 to 30 days before your body starts showing any signs of the effort that you're putting in, but it can take up to 3 months before the overall trend, so that is the general number, is below that number that we are thinking of. Okay, so what's the lesson here? The lesson is that we need to shift some of these emotions away from the scale, start doing it every now and then so we get an idea of what's going on, but not feeling so emotionally attached to that number. So I have top 3 things that require minimal equipment that you can start doing instead on relatively frequent basis, every 2 to 4 weeks. And you can do them instead or with the scale, but kind of space it out a little bit more. So number 1 is circumference measurements. So besides from just seeing how much gravity is pulling on you, let's start taking a look of how the circumference of your body is to see how much of it is muscle, fat, if you're losing centimeters here and there. So you need to grab a tape measure, a close friend, and then you're going to measure the following areas. You're going to measure your neck. You're going to measure your shoulder where they're widest, chest around your nipples, waist around your belly button, and the hips where they're widest. You're also going to measure the middle of your upper arm, middle of your thighs, and middle of your calves. You can measure this in either centimeters or inches, and I want you to measure this every 2 to 4 weeks to see how your total centimeters keep either increasing or dropping, okay? Depending on what your goal is. You can also do this. Try on a piece of clothing in one size smaller than you're currently fitting in. Because between the normal clothing sizes, XL and large, medium and small, small and extra small, we have about 10 pounds or 4.4 kilos of body mass We don't discriminate whether it's fat or muscles here. But if you are trying to lose a lot of weight, what you can do is pick a clothing size that's one size smaller, something that's relatively unforgiving and a little bit tight. So this could, for example, be a shirt for a male or a dress for a female, and see how it slowly starts to come together. Soon we'll be able to button or zip it. Yeah. So pick a clothing in one size smaller than you're currently comfortably fitting in, and start trying that on every 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah. Another way to track your progress that helps you a little bit more than just stepping on the scale is to take photos. Photos are pretty unforgiving. We're going to grab a smartphone, find a mirror or a close friend that can take some photos of you in a bikini or underwear. And what I want you to do is take 3 photos. You're going to grab one from the front, one from the side, and one from the back. And I want you to make these honest photos. So that means standing relaxed, arms down by your side, no sucking in the tummy, no inflating your chest, and definitely no flexing your abs or holding your stomach in or bum out. Make sure that these are honest photos. Relax, take that photo every 2 to 4 weeks. You might also be able to see some changes in your posture and your muscle definition and so on. Okay, so basically where to start. The scale isn't helpful, at least not alone, and it shouldn't be the only way that you're tracking your progress. If it's distracting how you feel about yourself and making you doubt your journey, then make sure that you kind of hide it away. Set a reminder in your calendar every 2 to 4 weeks to make those review of your progress, and then stick to the plan in the meantime. Okay. If you are not seeing any progress and it's been 8 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 16 weeks, yeah, and there is no progress, if you're not losing weight and there's no change in the pictures or the measurements, then maybe it's time to review your plan. Okay. I would see as a benchmark, if you've given it a solid 8 weeks and there's no changes, it's time to contact a coach, a nutritionist, or someone who can help you progress your journey. Yeah. The coach might ask you a few questions about your habits. There might be some reviewing of your current diet or exercise habits. But baseline is, if nothing's happening and you have stuck to the plan, then it's time to get some external help. I would like to thank you so much for listening. And if there's one thing that I can leave you with, is that if there was anything in this post that kind of struck you, made you feel motivated and get that little spark of, yes, I can do it, then start taking that tiny, small, imperfect action right now. Make sure it's something that takes you 5 minutes. If that's hiding the scale away, do that. If that's writing down those 3 ways that you can track your progress, then write it down. But make sure you do it now while you feel motivated, because that burst of motivation is going to go away. And then all we're left with is that action that we took. If you want more quick and dirty tips, make sure to subscribe to this podcast. We're going to cover so many more different topics around weight loss journeys and other ways to boost and motivate your fitness, so you never miss an episode. See you next time.